Episode 45. Listen, there's a lot of commotion. You might be hearing some construction going on. We are expanding. We're getting new desks today. Very exciting. The team is growing. Hopefully I am shrinking. Spring is coming. Bathing suit season is upon us. All of these things are true. They're all happening. Welcome to Drink with James, episode 45. I hope you guys watched the last one with Patrick. Tim will throw a link up if you haven't. It was fantastic. He is so handsome and so smart. And we talked for, 43 minutes or something. Really super worthwhile episode. So definitely check that out. Another thing, and comment on this, Tim is thinking about taking the audio from this and turning it into podcasts. So if you don't want to watch me, talk with my hands, you can just listen to the podcast as well. Is that something you'd be interested in? See or no? Put some stuff in the comments for us. As always, we need questions. Continue to ask those. Without that, we don't really have a show. So let's do questions. For those of you who don't know, Fohr is doing an influencer conference April 25th, one day, jam-packed, no panels, no social media allowed. It's going to be like a fucking speakeasy of conferences. It's going to be incredible. We've got amazing speakers. We got JC Dupree, we got Justin Livingston, we got Ryan Clark, we got we had loads of people. I mean, look, all I do is give, I sit here every week. Do you think I want to drink this whiskey and talk about influencer marketing? I do, but still, I've been giving you stuff all year. I haven't asked for much, just adoration, compliments every once in a while, and sending me bottles of whiskey, which some of you have done, some of you are negligent about. So I'm asking you to do this. I think it's going to be really great. If you're in New York City, make it happen. If you have a job, fucking call in sick. There's not going to be any social media anyway. Your boss isn't going to see. So beautiful. Problem solved. If you haven't signed up for that, and you're on episode 45 of Drink with James, I am confused. It's going to be incredible. It's only $200. You should 100% sign up. But no bullshit. I have spoken to all the speakers who are talking. That is a weird sentence. I've spoken to all the speakers who are speaking at the conference, and I've stressed that I don't want this to be like a normal conference. I want them to say things that they wouldn't be comfortable saying anywhere else. That is why we're not allowing you to tweet while you're at the conference, because we want the people from brands and also the influencers to be able to speak really candidly, be able to answer your questions with honesty, with explicit examples, knowing that you guys aren't going to blast that out to the internet. So I think that's going to make it really special. You know the way we do things on the show. It's kind of irreverent. It's very honest. It's kind of, hopefully fun. We're going to carry that kind of vibe throughout the whole conference. Certainly there's going to be a decent amount of alcohol there, which should be great. But more importantly, it's the idea of we're not doing this to make money. We make, as you can tell, we're growing. We make plenty of money in other ways. This is not really a money-making thing for us. We're trying to break even, honestly. And so what we want is we want you to leave being like, that was the best conference I've ever been to, and I learned so much. And if that's not the case, if you leave and say, I thought one or two of the speakers were good and there was a few points, so I felt like my $200 was well spent, that's a massive failure for us and for me personally. I'm very much, I'm out there asking you guys to do this. I'm all over this thing. If it is not great, it will be a personal failure for me. And people have reacted really well to Drink with James, and we're not going to screw with that format. It's going to be very one-on-one. The influencers are either going to give keynote talks, so walk through a presentation, or I'm going to sit there and interview them, or potentially another influencer or something, but it's going to be all kind of one-on-one or one-on-two, so there's not going to be any big panels with generic questions and generic answers. This is going to be very real. I really do believe, and I said this in the video we made about the conference, if at the end of the day you really don't feel like you got your $200 worth, you come up to me, I will give you $200 out of my own bank account and give you your money back, because that is how sure I am that this is going to be great. So sign up. The spots are going decently quickly, and we don't have a very big room because we wanted to keep it intimate. It's only seats 60 people in the space. That's great because you're going to be able to talk to the influencers or to the speakers after they speak. You're going to get some time with them at the cocktail party. You're going to be able to talk to a lot of people. We're going to have brand people in the audience as well as influencers. So you're going to be able to do some really great networking. We're keeping it small on purpose. We could sell 200 tickets to the show, but we're not doing that. So sign up quickly or it's going to sell out. Then you're going to email me and be like, James, I've been to Fohr. I really like you. I've watched Drink with James. Can you squeeze me in? And I'll be like, no, I can't. Fire code. What am I supposed to do? So sign up. Trolls are scary on either side of the aisle. And I've never had this happen. I've never had the angry mob after me, but you know, you can post something and it gets into these like subreddit pages, and then all the trolls kind of start attacking you, and they start saying, especially to women, we're gonna keep this woman's identity secret who asked the question, because she asked me too. But it's terrifying, you know? They find your address, they find your parents' address, they say incredibly lewd things, they threaten you with all sorts of abuses, sexual and physical, and it's a dark and gross and scary part of the internet, which I think you can't truly appreciate exists until it happens to you. And I think if I were in this situation, I would look to people who I think probably get this every single day of their lives and handle it really well. I think, you know, Chrissy Teigen does a great job. I know she gets relentlessly assaulted by internet trolls, and she mostly sometimes makes fun of one or two of them, but it seems like mostly ignores it. Twitter has gotten better. I'm not sure about Facebook yet, but Twitter has gotten better at allowing you to, you know, report things that are offensive and things like that. You know, I can't give a huge amount of advice here other than saying I do think it is a short storm that will pass. And while it is probably hard if you're in the middle of that to look at it and say, these are idle threats from internet trolls who are just trying to scare me, and I'm not going to be intimidated by it. It feels different when that internet troll is saying, I'm going to be in your house tonight and I'm going to kill you. But that doesn't really, you know, I mean, the reality of the situation is probably like, they're just trolls. That's not going to happen. That doesn't, you know, we don't see a news story once a week about like internet troll who promised to kill somebody on Twitter, turned around and did it. Again, doesn't make it any less scary. You know, I've seen people like turn their accounts private for a week or so to let things blow over, because these things do blow over. I mean, I had a very small one where like I sent a snarky tweet to the Pope, and I got like the Catholic troll parade after me. And you know, there's a lot of burning in hell, you're gonna burn in hell, all this stuff. And it just kind of passes after a while. So again, it's scary, but you know, the internet has a short memory and it will pass. If you have to turn your accounts private for a little while, do it. I wouldn't really acknowledge it. I wouldn't interact with them. I wouldn't, that's what they want. They want a reaction. But literally that is what, you know, trolling is quite effective. But all they're looking for is reactions. And internet trolls, they will go after kind of big targets, and they have these forums where they kind of brag about their conquests. And if they got somebody who's pretty high up to react in some way, that's a victory for them. So they're trying to say things to make you so offended or scared or something to just get a reaction out of you. That's it. So if you have no reaction, they very quickly will walk away. When you're an influencer who has a larger following, you have to be conscious of people who have a smaller following, who start hanging around you and kissing your ass and thinking, is this person trying to get posts? You know, I've known big influencers who kind of had these little like sucker fish that hung on the side of them, like a little like plankton or something, trying to like catch little droplets from them, and it was, you know, kind of sad. I'm not at all saying that's, whoever asked this question, that's what you're doing. But it's like, in some ways, it's like being the lottery winner. Okay, and once you win the lottery, everybody asks you for money. Every single person in your life hits you up for money, right? And so all of a sudden, like, you're just very sick of that, and you're very conscious of the fact that, like, are my friends really my friends, or are they just my friends because I'm rich? So I think it's a similar thing of, like, you start to be like, you know, to a lesser extent, but you start to be like, is this person really my friend, or are they just here because they want me to post photos of them? So, you know, I don't know that I would ever ask, honestly. I you know, back when I had a big Tumblr following, I took a lot of joy in highlighting and sending traffic and followers and attention to the people and things that I loved. One of the coolest things about having a big following is shining a light on the people and things in your life that you really care about. And it doesn't really get old. They know that. Like, they know you want them to post about you. There's no like, oh, I didn't, you know, you're an up-and-coming influencer with 5,000 followers and I have 1 million. I never thought that you would want to take a photo with me. That's like so novel. Like, this is not, yeah, they know that you want that. And I think that generally you will get that photo if it, you know, feels authentic. I guess what I'm saying is I don't think you have to ask. And I think if you have to ask, it's going to put one, it's going to put a bad taste in your friend's mouth. Two, it puts them in a weird position, right? Because they're like, oh, well, you know, I don't really do that, you know? And this is like for you personally or your brand, you know? Again, I'll speak to personal experience back in the day when I had a following, and people would be like, hey, my brother just started this, you know, baseball card shop. Can you post about it? And then you're like, dude, you know, this is like part of my job, and I charge people for this, and I don't care about your brother's baseball shop. And now you're putting me in a weird position as a friend to tell you that, no, sorry, my blog is more important than your brother's baseball shop, you know, in this scenario. And so I think you put your influencer friends in a weird position when you're like, hey, I'm launching a t-shirt brand. I'd love to send you one, and I'd love to have you post about it. Like, instead of saying that, I'd be like, just send them one, you know? And then don't ask them about it. Don't be like, oh, did you post? I think that you can ruin a relationship really quickly. And as a big influence, I would say, especially if this person has over 300,000 followers, they are getting hit up constantly by everyone, and their mom is emailing them being like, I talked to someone today and I told them you'd post about them, and, you know, and it's like, okay, mom, great, now I can't do this. So Tim's gonna edit this because I've been rambling for a while trying to collect my thoughts, but my advice is don't ask. You will receive. Look, that's it. Tim, we don't normally do this, but, you know, you want to show the people that we're not lying over here and see these desks getting built?
Can't really, we don't have a zoom on this lens, but.
Right, but you see what's happening over here. There's things happening. So look, desks are getting built. I'm going to Atlanta tomorrow, cauldron of my youth. And this has been Drink with James. Sign up for that conference. Send questions. Cheers.
Are you from Atlanta?
I'm from many places, you know. I was born in the wilds of Queens, New York. As a young man, I went down to Atlanta, 5 years, formative years in some way, early childhood development down in Atlanta. And then up to Boston, you know, was in Boston from 2nd to 7th grade. So, you know, those are formative years in a different way. And in a lot of ways, I'm from Boston. And then I moved back down to Georgia. So I am from New York, Georgia, and Boston. Well, really, I'm from Queens, Georgia, Boston, and the Lower East Side. So I'm from 4 places, depending on who is talking and who I need to be in that moment. Do I need to be Southerner and say like, yes, ma'am, and yeah, I'm from Georgia and I do miss it. Am I from Queens? Am I from Lower East Side? I'm never really, let's be honest, I'm never really from Boston. No offense to Boston, but it's not really my town. But yeah, I'm from a lot of places.